I used to think footsteps behind you were just part of city noise. But once you hear a second pair match your own perfectly, you stop believing in coincidences. This happened 2 winters ago, when I still lived in a small apartment on the outskirts of town. My shifts always ended late, and my walk home was a straight 15-minute stretch through quiet residential streets. I'd taken that route so many times that it felt like muscle memory. Same houses, same dim streetlights, same stray cats perched on fences. That night, the air was colder than usual, sharp enough that each exhale came out in a pale cloud. I was exhausted, head heavy from staring at screens all day. All I wanted was my heater, my bed, and the cheap instant ramen waiting in my cupboard. The street was empty. That wasn't unusual. Most people were indoors after 10 p.m. The only sounds were my footsteps on the pavement and the occasional hiss of a faraway car. About halfway home, I passed the small park with the broken swing set. That's when I heard it, a second pair of footsteps. I stopped walking. The sound stopped too. At first, I didn't think much of it. The cold can play tricks, echoing off houses weirdly. Or maybe I was just tired. I kept walking. 2 seconds later, step, step, step. Right behind me again, matching me perfectly. I slowed down. The steps slowed down. I sped up. They sped up. Not rushing, not creeping, just mirroring like someone was syncing to my pace on purpose. A strange pressure built in my chest. I didn't turn around. I told myself it was someone else walking home, maybe on the opposite side of the street or slightly behind me. But every time my heel hit the ground, the second pair landed a fraction of a beat after. Too close. Too close to be a coincidence. When I reached the next streetlight, I finally glanced back. Not fully, just enough to use my peripheral vision. No one was there, but the footsteps didn't stop. The sound was right behind me, maybe 2 or 3 feet away, paced like a shadow that wasn't there. My heartbeat started thudding so loudly inside my ears that it almost drowned out the steps, but never fully. They were steady, patient, almost calm. Like whoever, whatever, was behind me wasn't in a rush. I tried walking off the sidewalk onto the road, my shoes scraping differently against the asphalt. The second pair copied the sound exactly, as if the thing behind me walked the same surface at the same time. It didn't make sense. It still doesn't. When my apartment building finally came into view, I felt a rush of relief. I didn't run. I was too afraid that if I did, the thing behind me would run too. Instead, I speed-walked toward the gate, fumbling for my keys. The footsteps stayed right behind me, close enough that I swore I could feel the vibration through the pavement. I reached the building's metal gate, shoved it open, and stepped inside. The footsteps did not cross the threshold. They stopped, so suddenly that the silence felt violent. I held my breath and slowly turned around. The street behind me was empty. Still, dead quiet. But then one single, deliberate step, coming from directly in front of the gate. Except nothing was there. Just the weak yellow glow of the streetlight and my own breath fogging the air. I took a step back. The gate creaked. I felt this pressure, like someone standing very close, even though I saw no one. Then, just as I closed the gate, another step, followed by a slow drag across the pavement. Like it was moving closer again, only now I had something between us. I slammed the lock shut, hurried inside the building, and didn't look out the window until I'd reached my apartment. When I finally peeked through the blinds, the street was the same as always, quiet, empty, except for the fact that every time I blinked, I swore I heard a single footstep echoing faintly through the night. I avoided that route home after that. For weeks, I forced myself to take the longer, brightly lit way, even if it meant an extra 20 minutes. But here's the part that still bothers me. A month later, a neighbor from across the street told me something strange. She said she'd seen me walking home that night, but she thought I wasn't alone. She swore there had been a man walking directly behind me, so close that he could have reached out and put a hand on my shoulder. When I told her I hadn't seen anyone, her face drained of color. "He wasn't normal," she whispered. "What do you mean?" She hesitated before answering. "He didn't cast a shadow. I don't walk home alone anymore. Not after dark, not even on busy streets. Because sometimes if I'm outside at night, even in crowds, I still hear it. Step, step, step. always just behind me, even when no one is there.